Welcome to the Skip and Shannon Undisputed podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. You can catch us Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific on FS1. Here's what this podcast is all about. It's an unscripted, unfiltered, undisputed version of the day's show, and there is a lot to get into in today's podcast. Skip believes it's clear that the majority of the blame for the Cavs' recent struggles should primarily go to the Cowboys' #1 fan, aka LeBron James. Shannon says the owners and the players gave NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell all the power and are now getting upset with the choices he makes. Pro Football Hall of Famer Cris Carter defends the Super Bowl rankings and the fact that Tom Brady is ranked #1. Plus, Shannon's former teammate and 4-time Super Bowl champion Bill Romanowski drops in the studio to talk about the difference between Tom Brady and Joe Montana and shares an inside story about Shannon. Finally, Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard breaks down what's going on in Cleveland and shares what this means in the big picture for the NBA. Skip and Shannon, let's debate. In the NBA, the Cavs lost by 4.
I thought that was before your time.
I do too. To the Kings last night, LeBron James had a key turnover in the final minute of overtime, and he missed a potential game-tying three-pointer with 10 seconds left. The Cavs have lost 3 straight and 6 out of 8 after the game. LeBron talked about the loss. Let's take a listen.
Try to get better. We got to get better. That's all. We had our opportunities. No matter, like I always tell you, Jay, it don't matter who we go against, no matter if they sell 500 or plus 500, we know we're going to be everybody's best, so just got to be better. We got another one on Friday. Come in tomorrow at noon, probably watch some film, see things we can do offensively and defensively better, and get ready for Brooklyn.
Skip, how much is LeBron to blame for the losing streak?
Shannon Sharpe, is LeBron James not the best player on the planet?
Breathing oxygen.
Breathing oxygen. Okay, I'm going to accept that fact. If that is a fact, then LeBron James is primarily to blame for certainly the last 3 losses, all winnable games. Point of order. In the fourth quarter and overtime of these last 3 straight losses, LeBron James has a shockingly uncharacteristic 9 total turnovers. In the fourth quarter and overtime of the last 3, 9 total turnovers. 2 of those 3 went to overtime, both at home in Cleveland. And versus my Spurs on Saturday night and versus the Kings they had just routed in Sacramento a week or so ago, last night at home, LeBron James played all 10 minutes of each of those 2 overtimes. And he goose-egged in both. He went scoreless in both overtimes. So that's 2 overtimes out of the 3 games, 20 total minutes.
Are you going to tell the people how many shot attempts he took?
What's that about? Why wouldn't he take more shots? Right? Okay, but he went scoreless. Is he pouting? Is he running for the ball? I have no idea. Is that like one of those old Kobe pout games where he says, okay, you guys do it. I can't do it. You guys do it. I don't know. And by the way, he did miss the game-winning 3 against my Spurs regulation on Saturday night. And then last night, 11 seconds left in overtime, down 3. LeBron James dribbles up the floor and pulls up from, 5 feet beyond the three-point line?
Sandusky.
Yeah, Sandusky, and jacked up a three-point shot that was, of course, short. Never up, never in. You know the old cliche. And yet, all 4 of his teammates on the floor at that point are all 4 better three-point shooters than LeBron James. I've said this a million times on the air before. What are you doing, LeBron? I think your basketball IQ is so high that you think, oh, if I take this impossibly high degree of difficulty three-point shot, nobody can really rip me for that because that's a tough shot. Yeah, but it's the wrong shot, LeBron. You know it, and I know it, and your teammates know it. And I will give you this. Kyrie missed a big free throw.
Oh, he did? The closer?
The almost always clutch Kyrie Irving, who has saved LeBron's bacon time and time again against Golden State, Game 7 the finals, Christmas Day against Golden State at home. He missed a big free throw. And Kevin Love, who's usually a pretty dependable free throw shooter as opposed to LeBron James, missed another big free throw in overtime. Both hurt a lot. But LeBron James has hurt his teammates' feelings time and time again lately by showing them up and shaming them on the floor with all of his histrionics, his melodramatics. How can you do that? How can you do that for their apparent mistakes? He blasted Kyrie and Tristan Thompson for not running the play called in the huddle in overtime versus the Spurs the other night. I don't know if they were wrong or if LeBron was wrong for just
they
a
were wrong.
blind pass. You got to look, you got to glance and make sure somebody's there, and he threw it to nobody, and that was a key turnover in that game. And then, of course, he blasted many of his teammates by saying the other night, I need help because we're too top-heavy. So that means big three, that means players 4 through 12 on the roster had to sit back and think, are we just chopped liver now to you, LeBron? I thought we were all pretty good. I thought we beat Golden State without Kyle Korver on Christmas Day just 1 month ago. But no, that's the kind of remark that's dangerous because it can create locker room dissension. It can create some mistrust between players 4 through 12 and the best player on the planet. And I believe that primarily responsible for the last 3 losses is a LeBron James, the leader of the basketball team, who has fallen short now in leadership and in especially fourth quarter and overtime on-court performance. It starts and it ends with the quote-unquote king.
So these last 3 games that you're saying that LeBron is at fault, he's basically averaging 26, 10, and 10.
Biggest stat stuffer in the history of basketball. Give me the fourth quarter and overtime, and you got a case. Make his case.
But you're making the argument that he goes out trying to stuff the stats. That's not what he's trying to do. He's trying to put his teammates in position to win. You do realize last night, Kevin Love had 3 turnovers before the Cavs scored a point. It goes miss, Kevin Love turnover.
You mean
miss,
at the start of the game?
At the start of the game.
Yeah, okay, but I'm talking about the finish of the game. I get you. I get it. You know what happened last night? They looked like a fractured basketball team right out of the box, and I'm with you on that. Mm-hmm. They looked like they had lost unity and energy. They looked like they didn't want to play together anymore, and I'm telling you that starts and finishes with the leader of the team because it looked joyless last night. It looked like they were just going through the motions, and that included Kyrie Irving, and that's really dangerous. But go ahead.
The thing is, Skip, he's posted back-to-back triple-doubles for the first time since 2009. And what LeBron understands, and I know he understands this, but I don't know how many of the Cavaliers understand this. When you win the championship, you are the measuring stick. You are the barometer coming into the season. Everybody is going to measure where they are or where they need to be, how well they play against you. And right now, they're giving teams confidence early. 10-0, Sacramento's out. Remember last Monday night, they were down 10, 6 minutes into the ball game. So they're lollygagging around, giving these teams confidence. These teams are bad teams because we saw also last night OKC Thunder blew out the Pelicans without Anthony Davis.
Although he played a while. He lasted a little while last night before he got hurt again.
Right.
Go ahead.
And so right now they're playing with fire. They're turning the ball over entirely too much. LeBron is playing too many minutes.
Why is that?
He played 45 on Saturday. He played another 44 Monday. He played 45 last night. Skip, you play all these minutes now, you got to give up these minutes somewhere down the road. Now, is it going to be in the playoffs? Is it going to be in the finals? But if you rob Peter playing all these minutes now, you got to pay him later.
You got Paul, not Peter, but
you got to pay somebody down the road, Skip. Mm-hmm. He's 32, and he's playing 45 and 44 and 45 minutes. Skip, he's not 24. He's not 27. He's 32. But that body has 35-year-old minutes on it because you go to 6 straight finals. You sandwich in 2 Olympics in between all that. All the minutes that he's playing, Skip, they're going to come due at some point in time. And Cavaliers better hope they don't come due in the playoffs or the finals.
Are you suggesting that in the 2 overtimes in 3 games, 20 minutes total, that he just ran out of gas? Is that why he went scoreless?
It looked like, because the other night he only attempted 1 shot in overtime.
A 3?
Yes.
Bad idea.
Last night I think he attempted 1 shot, if he attempted that. But here's the thing. If I'm LeBron, I might say, hey, Savannah, take the kids out of school. We about to go to Ocho Rios, so we going on a vacation for 2 weeks. I got to get my legs back. I got to get my body back.
He took a break last year for about a week. And
he might.
Miami.
He might need to take another. Skip, they're not playing very well. They're turning the football. They're turning the basketball over entirely too much, and they're not playing defense. 1 time they've held an opponent in the last 20 games to 99 or fewer points. 1 time, Skip.
Why is that?
Well, all I know, first of all, you bring in Kyle Korver. Did you actually think he was going to play D? He's
And by
minus.
the way, I don't know why he was in on the key play for Sacramento. The game, Aflalo hits a big three because Kyle Korver leaves him. It wasn't like bad defense. It was no defense.
Skip.
Why was he in the game? Why wasn't Richard Jefferson in the game, maybe?
Or Shump. Because it was
Shumpert was in, but go ahead.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. What he got caught in between. He like, okay, do I go double? But how can you double from that far away?
It's too far.
But you're so far away from the three-point shooter. So you were really in no man's land to begin with. And then you get caught like, okay, I'm finna go. No, I better not. And then by that time, Cousins had already thrown the ball to Aflalo. Aflalo goes, and the three goes into the basket.
I have seen these same Cavaliers play lock-up, lock-down defense. I've seen these guys, all these same guys. I know Delly isn't there, but I've seen these guys on the floor right now as a group, 5 of them, lock people up, including Golden State in the finals when they just out-physicaled them. They're capable.
That was JR. That was
Sometimes.
JR was their best defender in the playoffs last year, on-ball defender. He was the best. He also
I don't know about that. I don't agree.
He was their best on-ball defender.
LeBron is, when he wants to be.
I'm talking about throughout the entirety of the playoffs. Yes, we know LeBron can play D when he wants to, but Skip, when you're playing as many minutes as he is and you have to devote as much time as he does offensively because they're challenge scoring the basketball, you can't go all out and try to hold Kevin Durant to 16 points or hold their top-level score. That's what they're doing now. They're putting Shumpert or they're putting JR on the best score and letting Bron have a break on that end of on the floor.
Yep.
But until they stopped turning, because Skip, they had a 9-point lead in the fourth. They had a 5-point lead with 2.5 minutes in overtime. And guess what happens? Turnover, dumb shot, and the next thing you know, the Kings are back in the ball game.
Whose turnovers are mostly those? The Kings versus the King, right?
Skip, listen, when you lose a ball game, there's enough blame to go around. And I get it. He's the best player on the team, and you want to lay all the blame at his feet. But he's playing. You tell me Kyrie's playing like Kyrie could normally play, with the exception of that Pelicans game? No. You tell me Kevin Love. You look at Kevin Love's stat line, and it's impressive. 21-16, 22-16.
He's another stat stuffer. I agree.
But look at the game. Mm-hmm. Watch the game. Don't look at the stats. Forget the stats. Turn them down. Watch the game, and you tell me that Kevin Love is the Kevin Love that we saw, say, the first 30-plus ball game.
It's up to the best player on the planet to bring those games home, and he has not been able to do that.
No mercy. Commissioner Roger Goodell was in Atlanta and not Gillette Stadium on Sunday for the conference championship games. This led many to believe that Goodell was avoiding the Patriots since he handed Tom Brady a 4-game suspension for Deflategate. Goodell addressed the situation on the Herd yesterday. Let's take a listen.
This is one of the great opportunities. We have 2 dominant teams playing in the Super Bowl. The Patriots and Falcons have both earned the opportunity to be there. They deserve it. And whoever wins that championship is going to have to earn it because these are great teams. And so I'm going to be thrilled. Tom Brady is one of the all-time greats. He has been for several years. He's on the precipice of at least potentially winning his 5th Super Bowl ring. He's an extraordinary player, a great performer, and a surefire Hall of Famer, so it would be an honor.
Skip, you've said all season that Tom Brady's been on a mission this year.
Yep.
What's your reaction to what Goodell said?
I know that Roger Goodell had to say what he said to Colin Cowherd on FS1 yesterday. I have often liked things that the commissioner has done. I've often applauded some things the commissioner has accomplished over his tenure at the head of the National Football League. But those remarks yesterday, for me, were disingenuous to the point of just being flat out deceitful. And it disgusted me and it offended me because I believe this commissioner in this case has been allowed to get away with pulling off the most stunning move in National Football League history. He decided to sacrifice the reputation and the legacy of a then 38-year-old quarterback who might go down as the greatest quarterback ever, all in order to protect the shield, as Roger would say, to punish the Patriots as an organization for their quote-unquote history of cheating with the Deflategate saga that we just went through, that he was going to pin it on that quarterback with no smoking gun, nothing but, Huh?
Not needed.
No, nothing but circumstantial evidence at
All
best.
that's needed.
Most of it laughable in the Wells report. More probable than not. Baloney.
The standard
Stop
in which
it.
the NFL said they would
Yeah,
use moving
baloney.
forward.
And he did so because he chose to sacrifice the quarterback who he thought was nearing the end of the line at 38 going on 39. And that quarterback has come back and made him eat all that with obviously the greatest 39-year-old season we ever saw, 28 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. And here he is on the doorstep as the favorite to win his 5th Super Bowl. Justice is prevailing. But in the end, Roger Goodell had to choose, do I just openly and blatantly try to punish the Patriots? Do I go after the head coach who could go down as the greatest head coach ever? Because it's, to me, far more probable than not that the coach was guiltier than the quarterback was. That's just my take on this.
That's what you want to believe.
Okay, I'll just leave it at that. But my point is that he had to choose one way or the other, and he chose to go after a quarterback who off the field has been pretty clean liver. He's got no track record of any nefarious dealings or no law breaking that I know of. He's been a pretty good citizen for the National Football League. But no, I've got to go one way or the other. I think I'll go after Tom Brady. We will pin this on the quarterback. And then he comes full circle. I'd be honored to hand Tom the trophy. Well, I know you have to say that as the head of the league. I get it. But it just frankly just makes me sick at my stomach. And I can't wait to see him present that trophy to Bob Kraft, who will then turn and hand it to Tom Brady.
And I hope Dan Quinn and the Falcons organization is watching this show, because you basically just said that Roger Goodell is going to hand the trophy to Robert Kraft.
I did. I've been saying that since August.
Yeah.
So
okay, good.
I stand by that. I hope they are watching. Yes.
I hope the Falcons.
Yes, I stand by my convictions, Dan. Thank you.
Skip, what did you expect the man to say? That it would, I sure hope I don't have to do that. Skip, he's still the commissioner of the National Football League. He can't look as if he still has a grudge or had a grudge against the Patriots or Tom Brady. Just like Tom said, I have no animosity towards anyone. I'm trying to win for my family, for my teammates, and the free. So do you believe he was telling the truth? When Tom Brady says he has no animosity towards Roger Goodell. But you believe that, but you don't believe him.
I don't believe that for a second. But we didn't do that topic. If you'd asked me what I thought, I would have told you, baloney.
Skip. The fact of the matter is, as Commissioner Goodell has said, Tom Brady is a player in the National Football League. No one player is bigger than the National Football League. And it's my job, given to me through the CBA, the owners put me in power, that I'm going to do what I feel is in the best interest of the National Football League. This is what he felt was in the best interest of the National Football League. Now, no one in New England likes Commissioner Goodell. He understands that. It's hard for him to go because anytime he goes to New England, the game is not the story anymore. He is.
I don't blame him for not going to those games because he'd need like presidential Secret Service security to make it through the game.
And that's a shame.
It is, but I got it. I get it.
We'll discuss that for another day. But here's the thing, though, Skip. Look, somebody's going to win. He's going to hand the trophy off to the owner. The owner's going to pass it off to the coach, and the coach is going to pass it off to the quarterback. That's how it goes. And the narrative that we want Commissioner Goodell to bypass. Bob, step aside. Move out. Coach Belichick, get out the way. Tom, get up here. Come on, let's hug it out.
That would be big of the commissioner to do that, actually.
Yeah, that'd be foolish of the commissioner to do that also. Skip, look, it's happened. You can't go back. Whatever you think of commissioner, whatever you think of Tom Brady, this is on his resume. Now, how you choose to look at do you still want to? You can have something on your resume. People can read the resume. They can say, yes, we'll hire you, or no, we won't. This Deflategate stain is on his resume. You can choose how you choose to look at it or what you choose to do with it. But it's there. It's time to move on, Skip. The man, Commissioner Goodell did what he felt was in the best interest of the National Football League.
He did.
Why is that a problem? Nobody ever had a problem when he punished all these other guys for off-field related stuff. They never questioned Roger Goodell's authority. I never heard one time Mr. Kraft said the commissioner overstepped his boundary when he punished Tank Johnson, when he punished Pac-Man Jones, when he punished anybody else. I never heard him say that. I've never heard the Patriots fans say, man, you know what he did to Pac-Man was wrong. Pac-Man, what happened in Vegas didn't happen on the football field. Not one Patriots fan said that. You know why? Because they didn't have a vested interest. So now, Mr. Kraft, when you signed that letter 32-0 that says preponderance of the evidence is the standard in which you was going to use, you don't get to sign that and then say, well, we don't have DNA. We don't have eyewitness. We don't have thumbprint. No, you don't get to do that.
Who signed it?
The 32 owners unanimously.
And the NFLPA went along with it.
With the exception of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ryan Clark, way to go, Ryan.
They're the only ones that could have a gripe.
I agree.
You don't get to have a gripe when you sign something, when you know what's in there, that you're giving this commissioner all this power. You gave it to him. But then all of a sudden, he makes a ruling that you don't agree with. Well, he has too much power. So when did you think he had too much power? Before you gave it to him or after you gave it to him and then he made a ruling that you didn't like? Skip. He's going to pass the trophy to somebody. This is the way he was supposed to handle it. And let's just say for the sake of argument, Skip, he said, well, you know, it's going to be kind of tough because I did suspend the guy and I'm sure there's still a lot of animosity. The Super Bowl is not the story. The story is not the Falcons and the Patriots. It's Roger Goodell being uncomfortable to hand the Lombardi to Tom Brady. Is that what you want? Do you want the commissioner to be that part of the story? No. Let the game be the story and let the chips fall where they may. If he has to hand the trophy off to Mr. Kraft, so be it. If he has to hand the trophy off to Mr. Blank, so be it. But we're trying to, the one thing I know about, what I'm starting to find out about America is that we are a very forgiving society, but we're very vengeful. We want Tom Brady. I mean, I heard Joe Thomas say, you know, I want my former teammate Alex Max to win, but I think even more so than that, I want to see the commissioner hand the trophy to Tom Brady. I mean, think about that, Skip. Here's a guy, he's never played with Tom Brady. I don't even think Tom Brady has been to the Pro Bowl in all of Joe Thomas's years. He played alongside Alex Mack, guy that you know personally. Linemen are very offensive linemen. They do everything together, Joy. They run together. They come in last place running together. They eat together. They go to the meeting room at the same time together. They go on break at the same time together. Now, but he would rather, not a guy that he played with, not a guy that he played 5 or 6 years and within the same meeting room. Yeah, I want to see him win, but I would rather. Think about that now.
Well, because he sees the bigger picture. He can step back and realize Tom Brady got suspended 4 games for that. That's beyond what used to be a domestic violence suspension. That's equal to a PED suspension for that.
Pac-Man Jones got suspended for a year for something that he did in Vegas. Guys getting suspended for something that didn't happen on the field or didn't happen during the season.
Pac-Man had like 12 incidents.
I don't care if he got 50,000 incidents.
He's got 50,000.
But what does that have to do with football?
Well,
what did he do on the football field? So let me ask you a question. Which goes to the greater credibility, the integrity of the game? What you do getting a DUI or getting something off the field or tampering with the footballs? What goes to the credibility?
Well, conduct unbecoming doesn't work. That's a real reflection on the league.
So am I, by doing what I do off the field, am I trying to gain a competitive advantage?
Well,
by getting arrested, am I gaining a competitive advantage?
No, but they gave Roger Goodell the power to punish off the field and on the field.
Oh, so they gave him the power.
Yeah.
So he had the power to punish Tom Brady.
He also had the power to not punish Tom Brady.
Not only that, they took their first-round draft pick for this. Are you kidding me? And again, Brady fought it and actually won or at least tied it at 2 levels of court and just ran out of time, ran out of money, ran out of distraction for his team.
When the appellate court got it,
yep.
What did they say? If you had a problem with him having this kind of power, shouldn't you have done something before you gave it to him? See, now you got a revisionist history. Now all of a sudden, Commissioner, you got too much power.
So you're saying Brady was innocent, but they gave up the power for him to prove his innocence.
No, he wasn't innocent.
Yes, he was. Come on.
Skip, we can go back and forth. All I'm saying is the circumstantial evidence. There's a lot of people, they got 20 to life because of circumstantial evidence. But now all of a sudden, we don't want to look at circumstantial evidence because it's Tom Brady.
Just laughable.
It is laughable.
And you know what? But what's not laughable is the commissioner succeeded. He
did not
He
succeed.
stained or tainted Tom Brady's reputation indelibly. Too many people will believe he cheated and he lied about it.
Can I ask you a question, Skip? Do you actually think the commissioner woke up one morning and says, you know what, I got to axe to grind. I'm going to get them cheating, dirty, no good, and you know what, Patriots and Tom Brady. I'm going to get them today.
It's no axe to grind, but they had a long history of cheating, and he said, this is it. Because remember, he got blasted for destroying the evidence on Spygate. Remember that? Yeah. This time, I'm going to follow through, and I'm going to punish them severely. Do I get the coach? No, I better get the quarterback.
So you think he was like, you know what, my Q rating will really go up with the owners and the public if I suspend Tom Brady for 4 games. People will really like me if I do that. You think that's what?
No, but I think the biggest critique of Goodell has been that he's reactionary and not taking the punishment as serious the first time around.
So let me get to one more thing before we go, Joey. Now, when the domestic violence, he said, now what we normally did, what the Commissioner Tagliabue before me and all the predecessors, was 2 games. It's like, well, but you the commissioner, you can do what you want to do. Now, it was a $50,000 fine for tampering with the footballs. He's suspending 4 games. Well, you need to adhere to the rules. So which is it, Joey?
I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules. No mercy. Pro Football Focus released their rankings of the best players in the Super Bowl this week. They have Tom Brady first, Julio Jones second, and Shannon's neighbor, Matty Ice, Matt Ryan third. We're joined by Chris Carter. Welcome, Chris. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Lots of notes today.
Well, I was just looking at all the rankings and everything, and I see a lot of time you guys just have paper out here and ain't nothing on them. So I'm gonna try to do it this way to just be a part of the show.
These are very, very serious notes. We save all of these.
And you realize these go up on eBay after every show.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's expensive stuff, you know.
All right.
And they're still up on eBay, too. Everybody bought them.
Because nobody could read them.
Yeah. Chris, do you agree with the rankings?
Well, Tom Brady is definitely the best player in the Super Bowl. So it's not a matter if I agree with the ranking. Tom Brady's number 1. Like, I wasn't surprised about that. I don't think Julio's number 2. And the reason why, Julio's not going to practice all week. He's been dealing with a toe injury. This is a severe injury, especially for an explosive player like himself. So he's been limited in practice the last 5 weeks. He's going to take all this week off. Now, he will play in the Super Bowl. He will be able to play and play well. But Matty Ice touching the ball 65 times should be ranked higher. He should be ranked based on what he did during the regular season, what he's done in the playoffs. He's touching the ball 65 times guaranteed. Now, if Julio is lucky, he's going to get the ball 6 times. If Julio is extraordinarily lucky, he's going to be able to touch it 10 times. And that's it. That's his impact on the game. I think that Julio is going to have a more impact through coverage, all right? And what it allows other players, it will get Sanu a better matchup. It will get Freeman better matchup. It will get Tevin Campbell better matchups coming out of the backfield. And it will make Matty Ice's job clear because they're going to have to dictate what type of coverage they're playing to Julio, but they should be switched. And with Julio being injured, he should definitely not be number 2. He should be number 3.
Would you please explain all that to that man?
I agree with you, CC. Julio shouldn't be number 2. He should be number 1. See, under the antiquated theory that what's the toughest position to play in sport? Quarterback. Who's the most valuable player on the team? Quarterback. What's the most important position? Quarterback.
You disagree with all that?
No, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's the best player. Tom Brady isn't even the best player at his position.
Well, that's debatable.
That's not debatable.
Yes, it is.
Well, for you, everything's debatable with you. Skip, you look at Julio Jones, 6'3", 225 pounds, running 4.3, tremendous catch radius. He can run the route tree. He can catch the ball in traffic. He's tremendous run after the catch. Block in the run game, because when you're successful as they are running the football, obviously you have to have wide receivers knocking people off, people down the field. CC wouldn't know anything about that, but back in the day, I was a run. I used to block a little bit in the receiving.
Let me tell you something. If Pro Football Focus was alive, my rating as a blocker would be a lot higher than the dude sitting over here.
Seriously?
Now we both ended up in the same museum.
Yeah.
But let's not trip. Him talking about his blocking is like me talking like I'm fast like Randy Moss. Let's stop tripping.
First of all, first of all, that's how I made the roster in Denver, was my blocking.
Well, the guys blocking in front of him was so bad.
I was a
and they
wide
couldn't-
receiver at first.
Skip, let's keep it 100, okay?
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm going back to Julio. This is not to diminish Tom Brady or what he's accomplished, because the quarterback is the most valuable player. He plays the most important position. He's the most important. All three of those. But you know they're not mutually exclusive. That doesn't mean just because you're important, you're more valuable, you play the most important position, that you have to be the best player. Julio Jones is the best player.
Is this just Brady hate? Is that what it is?
Why would I?
Where does this come from?
I can relate to Tom Brady more than any other quarterback in the league because he was a low-round draft pick like myself. And every day I had to go to work to give them one reason why they should keep Shannon Sharpe for another day. Tom Brady plays and practices that very same way.
I'll bet he
He's
does.
so accomplished, but he still feels like he's being disrespected. How dare you choose all those? And I said the same thing. The Jesse Andersons, the Eric Greens, and Alexander Wright, Reggie, all those guys, the tight ends and wide receivers that went before me. I'm looking like, how dare you? Because I went to Savannah State.
You remember Alexander Wright?
I absolutely do. Ran track against him in Georgia
Did you
also.
really? Wow.
Well, we're on the same. we didn't do too well.
Yeah,
right.
He had work. He had legit.
He could
He
fly.
could fly.
Oh.
You were in
And
the
so
same race.
Yeah. Well, we on the track together. That's the only
Yes.
time
That's about it.
Wow, and I didn't see him. So I can relate to Tom Brady, and I appreciate everything that he's accomplished, and I know the hard work that he's put into it. But for the best player is Julio Jones.
Okay, and this is regardless of position, you still say he's the best player.
Yes, he's not the most important. He's not more valuable. He doesn't play an important position.
Okay, you
But
know how I feel about Julio. He is on a path. If his feet will go with him, if they'll just hold up under the 6'3", 225-pound pounding at 4'3" that they're going to take, if his appendages and his joints will hold up,
Yes.
he could go down one day as the greatest to ever play that position. It's possible. He is that gifted, and he's starting to have that kind of impact. He has
Wait a second. Stop. That position is not even available. I haven't seen a human being born that's going to be able to contest Jerry Rice for longevity, consistency,
And the
playoff
numbers.
performance, championship game. So it's nice to talk about it.
Okay, you know
Julio
what?
is
That's
really good.
that's another discussion.
But the conversation at wide receiver, and I'm aficionado at the position. If you want to start ranking people, you start with number 2. Leave my man off. You start with number 2,
I would start
3,
with Michael
4.
Irvin myself, but that's just me.
You better
We'll
stop.
do this. We'll
No
do this
problem.
another day,
Come on over
another
here.
time.
Come on over here.
Hey,
No
Hey,
problem.
You guys are going to be in trouble when we do that one, because I'm going to teach you what is correct about this ranking.
There
of
is
Michael.
there's no wide receiver that I know better than Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin is a duplication
Okay,
of
well,
myself,
Okay, well, no.
but I can do more.
we got to
things
stay on
than
topic.
him.
We got to stay
But go
on topic.
ahead. what do
Another
we got?
day we'll do
All right.
Go right.
So-
I'm gonna be back.
So
Yes, you will.
Pro Football Focus has been ranking the Super Bowl players since 2006.
Correct.
And the number one all-time ranking just went to Tom Brady off this regular season that we just finished,
Yes.
okay? The 2016 regular season. And they conclude, and I have respect for Pro Football Focus and their views, and they conclude that Tom Brady, of all the quarterbacks they ranked this year, made the most game-changing throws and the fewest turnover-worthy plays.
Yes.
Okay, and they concluded he is the best player in the Super Bowl because he was the best player during the regular season, and he made it to the Super Bowl.
But he wasn't the best player during the regular season.
Well,
Based
that's
on
what-
their ranking, he
Okay,
was.
that's what they said. That's
Yes.
what I told you.
How do I get perfect attendance, CC, if I miss the first 25 days of the school year?
You're not eligible for that award.
Okay.
They could only rank those 12 games, but he went 28 touchdowns to only 2 picks. That's pretty great. And you say, well, he fumbled, but he didn't lose any of them.
Can I pick out Matt Ryan's best 12 games? Can I pick out Aaron Rodgers' last 12 games? Can I do that?
Matt Ryan lost 3 games at home.
Can I pick out Matt Ryan's last 12 games of the season? Can I pick out Aaron Rodgers' last 12 games of the season?
Matt Ryan
and rank-
lost to the Chargers. at
Skip,
home.
I'm just asking you a simple
Yikes.
question. Can I take Matt Ryan's last 12 games? Can I take Aaron Rodgers' last 12 games? And can they factor those in? Because they're factoring in all 16 games for Matt Ryan, all 16 games for Aaron Rodgers.
Those two quarterbacks didn't get framed and railroaded by the commissioner. That's as simple as that.
CC, can you help me out?
Yeah.
Something happened to those footballs.
Yeah. Well, so I think nothing happened.
It's a whole bunch of brothers in
just-
jail swearing up and down they was framed.
Skip, can I ask you this? Can we use Aaron Rodgers' last 12 games like they did Tom Brady?
No.
Why not?
Because they played. They weren't suspended. You have to go with the games played. But what does it matter?
Right.
I don't care. Okay, use their last 12. I'll still take these 12.
Right.
I'll take them over your 12.
I don't think the argument of who's number one. I think the argument is how the rest of the list is compiled. And I really don't have a problem. If they put Julio number 2, that don't matter to me. When the quarterback's touching the ball 65 times, I'm a wide receiver. I know that guy is far more important than me.
Plus, which position is more easily controlled and contained, if not stopped?
Yes.
It's the receiver position.
Yeah, because they can put
Can't
two
help it.
people
You
on
can
them.
put two people on.
But it's just like a running quarterback. If a quarterback cannot throw the football, it's easier to take him out of the game because they can key on him. But if he can throw the ball,
Who's a better player, Alex Smith or Von Miller? Alex Smith plays the most important position. He touches the ball. He's more important. But which is the better player?
That's not the discussion we're having.
I'm just going.
I would give you more credibility with Von Miller.
I'm just trying to show you, just because someone has more value, because someone is more important, because someone plays a tougher position, that doesn't make him a better player.
But the Chiefs can put two blockers on Von Miller and control him. They can't maybe take him completely out of the game.
You're saying the importance. You're saying because you can control the variables. That doesn't mean he's less of a player because they put two people on him.
Now, for me, I don't have a problem with the top of the list. But you guys need to look through the rest of the list because the rest of the list you got to have problems with. They got James Devlin, the fullback for New England. They got him ranked as the 13th player. They got Vic Beasley as the 23rd player. So for me, there's more argument going down the list to the top 25 player. They got Hogan as number 37 plair. So I'm not worried about the top, but the rest of the rankings going down there, those are worth
I didn't want to
discussing.
get into it because Muhammad Sanu had a higher grade than Julian Edelman, but he's ranked lower.
Yes.
So I get an A. I get an A in the class, and CC get a B, but he get the graduate valedictorian.
Sanu had a higher grade by Pro Football Focus?
Yes, he's ranked number 18.
What was the rationale? Doesn't say.
Edelman was 15th, and he was ranked higher at his position during the season. He was a 19th ranked receiver. Edelman was 23rd, but Edelman's 15th on the list, and Sanu is 18th on the list. But my thing is James Devlin. What is he going to do? Are they going to break out some new stuff?
They're going to split him out wide, and when nobody
And
covers him, they throw it to him. Just the way they did against Pittsburgh. It worked. It went for like 15 yards.
Let me tell you something.
They threw it to him in the flats.
They did. They did because nobody covered.
Skip, but he also might, at the end of the game, we'll look at the stat sheet, he might touch the ball the same amount as you. None.
Yeah. He might touch
to be ranked
Falcons
13th.
helmets a few times.
I'm surprised you're not more with the receiver, Chris.
Listen, I'm an analyst. I've been doing this a long, long time. All right? You think I'm going to come in here into a forest fire when they talk about Julio? I know what the argument's going to be. I've been dealing with Skip for a minute. Shannon's new at this, not me.
That's true. That is true. I have much deeper history with Chris.
You take your St. Patty's Day tie and you take that yellow pocket square. Both of y'all leave me and Joy.
Well, there's a thing called kaleidoscope, and the wardrobe does a tremendous job. We got a staff of 13 people, and they do a great job with us.
So what about Taylor?
Taylor, what about Giorgio Armani?
No, I'm saying you need Taylor because that shoot. Well, you must have had that suit before you get
up. Let me tell you something. You can't wear a suit as a wetsuit.
No mercy. It's been a crazy week for the Cavs. After losing Monday, LeBron James said the team needed to add a bleeping playmaker. Then last night, they lost their third straight in overtime to the Kings. Before that game, GM David Griffin said LeBron's criticism was misguided. Now, they reportedly shut down rumors of a Kevin Love for Carmelo Anthony trade. Joined by Chris Broussard. There's a lot going on. Chris, what is going on with the Cavs?
This is what's going on. Part of the agreement when LeBron James met with Dan Gilbert to go back to Cleveland, handshake agreement, if you will, is that you will spare no expense to win championships, okay? That's the agreement. LeBron looks at their roster. Of course, good enough to win the East, but not on par with what they're doing out west in Golden State. And he sees we have a roster spot. We got some trade exceptions. We have some needs, as you said, backup point guard and a big. I don't want to hear about the luxury tax. When you're worth $5 billion, which is what Dan Gilbert is worth, a
Thanks,
few
LeBron.
million is
No,
not
he was
going
that
to
before
kill
LeBron.
you. Okay? So LeBron, that's why he went, so he looks at that and wonders, are we content as an organization, or is ownership, is management content with the one ring we brought? Because you're immortalized in Cleveland now, Dan Gilbert. You brought Cleveland a championship. Or going to the finals every year and making all that playoff money. Okay? And LeBron wonders about that, and that's why he went public. Because when you say that internally, which he said, that doesn't put the pressure on you as much as if you say it publicly.
Put it out.
He got his point out. So that's why Griff came out, David Griffin, and management, like they did, said it's misguided. I feel like both sides have good points. LeBron has brought so much money to Dan Gilbert and that city that he can say, and he's underpaid. We know even he's getting the max. For what he does for the league, he's worth a lot more money. So he has a point. David Griffin is absolutely right when he says, fine, we're trying to get what we can, but what we have has got to get better. Because whatever move they make, I mean, even I think one of the best would be getting a Darren Williams if he's bought out in Dallas.
Right.
But even that, I mean, nothing's going to put you on par with Golden State on paper. Right. So Griffin is absolutely right about, with what we have, let's play better. We're not playing defense. We're not even making free throws now. We're turning the ball over. And LeBron, when you call everybody out, you got to play better. You can't be turning it over late in the game. So I see both sides, but that is what is going on, and that's why this thing has gone public. Now, that said, this is par for the course in Cleveland. Come on. Last year, they had even more turmoil. This is not the first time Griffin and Ty Lue have met with LeBron privately. They did it last year in March after he was tweeting, after he's laughing with Dwayne Wade at halftime in Miami. They're getting blown out. You know, and remember, they were 30-11 when they fired David Black. They're 30-14 now. So they've seen this before. They have the luxury of, they're in the East. So you got plenty of time to work all this drama out. That's really what's going on.
What happened on December 25th at Cleveland?
They beat
They
Golden State.
State. They came from 14 down in the fourth quarter, and they beat the team that they have no chance against in the finals. I'm not buying
saying
that.
he's saying no chance, but I think he's saying, like, if you talk to Magic and Bert, they were always trying to improve their teams. They weren't as public about it, but he knows that they don't have as much. And he's trying to get, like anybody, right? Trying to get as much as you can for that battle coming in June.
So here's what I think is happening with the Cleveland Cavaliers. The best player on the planet, am I right? LeBron James, am I right?
Breathing oxygen.
Yeah, breathing oxygen is LeBron James, is starting, as I said 2 days ago on this show, to come unglued. He is starting to unravel emotionally in ways I've never seen him unravel. He is feeling pressure he has never felt. And now he's already trying to plant excuse seeds, as Joy said, but he's trying to make excuses in case he needs them, in case they do completely unravel as a basketball team, because now they've gone through a really rough patch. The roughest patch maybe since the early days in Cleveland.
You don't think there was a rougher patch in Miami?
It's the first time LeBron has lost 6 of 8 since March 2011 with the Heat.
Okay, with the Heat.
And
But that was when they were trying to figure each other out. This team has already figured each other out. And the point is, David Griffin just publicly called out LeBron James in ways that shocked me, because it is dangerous for Griff, as you call him, to try to do this to the king, especially after the king won a ring for Cleveland. And these quotes, he said, I was disappointed in the way LeBron chose to go public with this. And he said, it wouldn't have been my preferred method. It certainly wasn't appropriate from a teammate perspective, because you called out the rest of your roster from the top 3, because we're top heavy. From 4 through 12, you basically told them, you guys just ain't good enough anymore. I don't like you anymore. And they came out last night. They look like a fractured team to me. They look like they didn't have much unity. They didn't have any energy, and there was no joy of playing together last night. They just looked like a bunch of disparate pieces out on the floor. Kyrie wasn't into the game last night. LeBron tried to get into the game, and then he wasn't into the game. And you cannot call these teammates out or show them up during games the way he has consistently done over the last 3 games when you were the one falling apart late in every game. They just lost 3 straight highly winnable basketball games. Am I right? Yeah. 2 of them went to overtime. And so in the fourth quarter and overtime of those 3 games combined, LeBron has turned it over 9 total times. It's just too many. You can't overcome the best player on the planet, turn the ball over late in games in shocking ways that create fast break baskets the other way for the Sacramento Kings. And then, of course, he missed the game winner against my Spurs on Saturday night at the end of regulation. And then last night, 11 seconds left, they're down 3, and he pulls up from like 35 feet and launches a 3. It's just an ill-advised shot.
Bad shot.
Just what are you doing? Well, I know what he thinks because he's got such high basketball IQ. He's thinking, if I take this high degree of difficulty 3, at least they can't blame me for this because it's such a hard shot. Well, that's the way he thinks. He's always thought that. That's why he didn't want to.
He hit one from that very spot against San Antonio.
Yeah, he did. And then he missed one from that very same spot to win the game against San Antonio. He's just playing poorly by his standards over those 3 games, and they should have won all 3 of them. They're better than this. Now they've unraveled emotionally as a basketball team because he's turning on them and they're starting to turn on him. And again, we got a long way to go, and they are in the cakewalk East. There's still 3 games up on Toronto.
Toronto's lost 5
straight. No, come on. I mean, so what's the problem? So for this guy, David Griffin, to call him out, and then he concludes that the comment about the organization being complacent is misguided? You're telling LeBron James you made a misguided comment?
He talked to LeBron and said, "LeBron, I'm gonna say some things.
I don't think so.
Just let it slide. Don't fire me, LeBron."
But then he says, but in terms of the on-the-court complacency, I've seen a lot of that, says David Griffin.
I mean, that's an obvious statement, right?
Okay. But he had just come from the session with LeBron that he described as a good session. And then he calls the reporters together. These qualify as scathing quotes, anti-King quotes. They do. Given who he is running that franchise, I wish I could be a fly on LeBron's wall right now because he's telling Savannah, that guy's, he's gone.
First of all, Skip, he said this a month ago, 6 weeks ago. He says, we need a point, and then Bird goes down. Now we need a big. So for the last month, he said, we need a big. He's always said that we need a point. Now, he didn't want to air the dirty laundry because we try to keep everything. We don't want everybody to see your underwear hanging up on the line. But David Griffin wasn't reacting fast. LeBron does not have patience. He said, that's why I couldn't coach. I can't even coach my son's Little League basketball team because I have no patience. I see we have a spot available. Fill it. We got these trade exceptions. Fill them. So make something happen, Griff. You keep talking about, we're not getting complacent. I'm just going to make sure you're not getting complacent.
And by the way, he just went and stole Kyle Korver from Atlanta from Mike Dunleavy.
I love Kyle Korver.
Okay,
on and off the court. But you know what their record is since they got Kyle Korver? 2-6. That's when this started. Because Kyle, I don't blame it on him, but it's emblematic of their mindset as a team. We're all shooting threes. Let LeBron and Kyrie penetrate and kick, and we just gonna shoot threes. That's all they do now.
But that's how they did it last year.
They were tougher. They still had Mozgov, and Delly was tough. They're a finesse team now.
Now Delly's a star.
But he was a good backup.
JR was their best on-ball defender in the playoffs.
I'm not buying that. LeBron was.
But JR is a very good
defender.
In the playoffs,
and he'll be back.
He did a number with Clay. He did a number. And sometimes he had to guard Steph. They did a very good job. He got physical with him. He bodied them up.
You know what?
And, of course, that third quarter in Game 7, he comes out with those threes.
Okay, but Kyrie played some defense on Steph, too. I thought...
He gets up for Steph, but generally Kyrie doesn't play. My contention with what you said is this team is unraveling emotionally. They've been here. They've been here every year. They were 19 and 22 years ago. Last year, like I said, when they fired David Blatt, they had a better record.
Okay, but last night was
They got
sorry.
blasted
It
by
was
Golden
sorry.
State at home.
It looks scary sorry to me.
So
I
they're
can't
3
get
games
too
up on
alarmed.
Toronto still. But how much of this is manufactured? Because you know that they don't like to play from the front.
Well,
which they
Richard
clearly
Jefferson,
are.
3 weeks ago on Mark Stein's podcast, our friend from ESPN, Richard Jefferson put it great. He said, look, and I tell LeBron this all the time, he said, you thrive when being uncomfortable.
Right.
And that's LeBron. I don't know why, but if you look at his career, it's full of these types of moments.
always
every
drama.
year, right?
Yeah.
Several every year.
I mean,
Bumping, Eric Spoelstra, whatever it may be.
He's been the chosen
he
one
did it.
since 17. Skip, that's why he's losing his hair. He's always under stress. He always has
Poor
And
man.
this the-
We got to
the
give him a
pressure-
pass. He
Skip,
needs a pass.
There's no way this is
my
more
God.
pressure than ever.
No.
He's got Cleveland his title. Like,
No, there is
There
this is
can't
the
be
least
more
amount of pressure he's ever had to play within his
Exactly.
career.
He still is operating under the delusion that he can catch Michael
He
Jordan.
can.
He can't. It's
He
over.
can.
most people don't think he can.
Well, does he think that? He should think it's over.
Joining us now is a 4-time Super Bowl champion. He won 2 rings with Joe Montana and the 49ers. Then he won 2 more with John Elway, Shannon, and the Broncos.
Uh-huh.
Bill Romanowski, welcome to Undisputed.
Great to be here.
Glad to have you. As we mentioned, you won 2 rings with Joe Montana.
I did.
How would you compare Montana and Brady?
You know what? I don't think you can really compare them. 2 different eras. One guy utilized the system, as in he had to have the guys around him. Bill Walsh orchestrated that, called those plays. The other guy started out a little more in a conventional offense, as in Brady. I played against Brady, so I understand how those younger Patriot teams, how they ran their offense. But then it changed to where it was about Brady. Let's spread them out. Randy Moss came into town, and let's throw it 40 times a game. Joe Montana could not do that. And Brady could not have done what Joe Montana did, because Joe Montana had legs and could run, and they rolled him out a lot. They moved him a lot. That's what Bill Walsh did with him. So 2 different guys. But where they're similar is when they walk out on the field and you know they're on, you win. And that confidence, Shannon and I know. We played with a guy, John Elway, same thing.
Exactly.
When John was on, we won. And when Joe was on, we won. Tom is pretty much 98%.
Yeah.
He's on, they win.
What was Joe like behind the scenes, behind locker room doors?
He was a regular guy. As in, John Elway. He's a regular guy.
I don't get that sense
The
of
one-
Elway like I do.
Well, we had a little hoops, little poppy shot.
Yeah.
And Romo every day he's going to challenge you. Put a little money down, $5.
Elway's going to challenge.
Competitive.
Challenge anybody? All comers?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So we getting ready to go because, we get per diem on Saturday. We getting ready to leave. You see 5, 10, 20 per diems. We're shooting. We're trying to get everybody. Elway, I'm like, Elway, you got all this money, but, hey, you say it's open competition. I'm trying to win. He was just a normal guy, but when you touch the field, he was very demanding. People think, playing with John Elway or playing with a Montana or Tom Brady is easy. It's not, because they demand so much out of you, because they demand so much out of themselves. You know that it's not an 8 to 5 for them. They're getting film. They're watching 2, 3, 4 hours of film at home. So when it gets to a down and distance in an area of the field, they expect you to remember that you practiced this and you've gone over this. So they don't want to hear my bad, especially now. My bad gets you sent home. My bad causes you to lose Super Bowls. So there are no more my bads.
Another thing about Joe Montana that people don't realize, basketball player could dunk with ease. People don't realize.
No.
You think Tom Brady could dunk a basketball?
No.
He couldn't run very fast either.
Doesn't have to. He
To
got
me,
an arm.
from a distance, and just being in
Yeah.
interview groups, Elway had public persona to him. I just looked at him, and even in interviews, he carried himself like a superstar, like a top pick in the draft. This guy, Joe Montana, not so much. He had little to no public persona. Nothing to say in interviews. He seemed almost boringly normal. And yet the ultimate split personality quarterback was Joe Montana, because he played with such flavor. Like his game had had real sort of feel to it, and he could be spectacular because he could run it. He was a ballet dancer in the pocket and a sweet thrower of the football, and it was exciting. It was scintillating, in part because of the offense he was running, but the public, the performing Joe on the field was so different than the guy off the field. Maybe you saw something in the locker room, but I was around him some, even sort of off camera, off the field. He was pretty boring. I mean, he was just a guy.
You know,
right?
Joe and I would always tell jokes. And
Well, that's something.
you know, every time I got to the light, it seemed like every Wednesday I'd come in, I'd walk over to his locker, and I always had a lot of jokes. He always had a lot of jokes. And he says, I got a good one for you.
Oh.
And I still remember them. I can't
Yeah.
say any of them
All right.
now, but you know, that's one thing we always did. And we just always told jokes. And it was every week, oh, I got a good one today. Oh, he'd have a good one.
And you know, we're all in the weight room. Romo was into the weight room, but John was a big lifter. People don't realize that John could power clean 330. He could bench, 315 pounds. So he was in there while we was working.
Squat 400.
Yeah. He was as normal as a superstar can be because he would sit down, carry on a conversation, whatever we were doing. If we were playing cards, he played cards. We rolling dice. John would roll in training camp. We had the room called Club Shay Shay. You know, Romo, because nobody wanted to be on the 8th floor. Nobody wanted to be close to that because we're up till 3, 4 in the morning, getting up.
You?
Oh yeah.
I thought you went to bed early.
But Club Shay Shay, I had to make sure Club Shay Shay was going off right. But John was right in there with us. And this is why when you get a guy, he's the hardest worker. He sets the tempo. He sets the tone because you know what he's doing. So it's so easy for everybody else to fall in line. The reason why Coach Belichick has such great success is because Tom Brady is his hardest worker. Everybody will fall in line with Tom Brady. Tom Brady is also willing to play for less money. So guess what? Coach Belichick says, this is the guy that should be the highest paid player in all of football.
Yep.
He's not getting what he's worth. You actually think I'm going to pay you this? And so guys are accepting of their roles.
They are.
They're accepting of the Patriot way. If you notice, he really doesn't get guys on the offensive side of the football, receivers, that it's going to be about them. Because normally when a guy has a 1,000-yard season, what do you want next, Skip? 1,200, 1,500. He catch 80, he want 90. Not Coach Belichick.
When you have your top player, your best player, buying in, there's a belief factor. Everybody else has to follow. If your quarterback is not bought in, then the rest of the guys are not going to buy in. Well, those two guys had to buy in. Elway, buy in. We were all buying in. And if you weren't part of that group, then you weren't there long.
It's simple. It's not really that complicated.
Yeah.
You see what he's doing, you know nothing less will be accepted from you.
Well, how about I got to tell this one. So, Bubby Brister and John, they were close.
Yeah.
They were playing pool at John's house. Bubby Brister beats him on a Sunday night. Monday morning, John sold his pool table because he had never been beat on it. Sold it.
Competitive.
Competitive.
Did he want to get a little piece of Bubby after that? Get even with it?
Skip, you don't realize how we used to play in training camp.
Yeah.
We used to play a TV game called Jeopardy, but it was, through the PlayStation. Skip, I would beat him. So I could ring in quick, I knew the answer. So he get what he would ring, he didn't know it. He's like, tell me. I was like, I'm not telling you. It's like, well, you're not getting any passes tomorrow. Okay, I tell you. Oh, man. Those were the times that.
No mercy. This is the Skip and Shannon Undisputed podcast, where we're delivering you an unscripted, unfiltered, undisputed version of the biggest topics of the day's show. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, like us on Facebook at Undisputed on FS1, follow on Twitter at Undisputed, and catch us at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, Monday through Friday on FS1. You can find us on channel 219 on DirecTV, 150 on Dish. That's it for us today at Undisputed. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. We come back tomorrow for another great show. We'll talk to you guys later.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.